Where politics meets common sense. This is Nightcaps with Nate.
Coming to you live from just outside the swamp of the nation's capital. Get ready for invigorating talk, commentary, and debate on the issues affecting your life. Grab your favorite drink. It's Nightcaps with Nate. Now, here's Nate.
Hey, today is Memorial Day. We remember and honor the fallen on today's date. Hey, thank you for joining me. I am Nightcaps with Nate. Actually, I'm Nate with Nightcaps with Nate. And on the screen with me for a very special Memorial Day airing of this show is Jasper. Jasper, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I actually went out and golfed today. I have to play out the senior tees because I'm that getting old. My friend spotted me. They're 10 years younger, so they played out the normal tees. I played out the senior tees because I guess I'm just getting that old. Gotta go live. So went to the golf course today. Lots of people from Maryland and Virginia there. Kind of, I didn't know how I feel about it, man. I was like, you know what? I'm not sure that they should be allowed to be golfing in our area if they were already on the lockdown. You know what I mean? They voted in their governor, so
I would say that's perfectly reasonable assumption there. If you live in a state where you probably voted for someone who currently has your state on restriction, you shouldn't go to another state and enjoy the freedoms of that state.
No, you shouldn't. And, you know, I was at the restaurant, so, you know, it's a long weekend. So Friday night, we went to just a little hole in the wall down the road called Long Shots. It used to be a billiard before all this coronavirus stuff, and I'm sure it's going to turn back into a billiard once everything's fully open. But Maryland and Virginia, especially Northern Virginia and Maryland around D.C., where we live, is totally on lockdown still. I mean, totally locked down. So most people, you know, we rib them a little bit, like, oh, you're from Maryland? Hey, what are you doing over here to the free state? Oh, you're from Virginia? Man, you guys should be under your lockdown. You know, that you guys voted for it. And most people are like, no, I didn't vote for them. You know, that's not my fault. And one lady had to say to me, oh, I proudly voted for Northam, and I'll do it again. Right, that one pissed me off. I'm like, then go back and enjoy the fruits of your vote, because you're violating your dear leader who put you in lockdown. All of them people, technically, even though we're a free country and we have interstate travel, technically they're violating their state governor's decrees by traveling out of state into other states. Not that anybody's like going to pull them over and check them out and any of that, but, you know, if you vote the way you vote, live under the consequences of how you voted, especially if you're one of the ones that actually pulled like that lady said, she is proudly a Northrop, voter. Coon Man is what I call him because he called himself that. Kelly Marie says, we traveled to West Virginia today, shop and eat and drink, and it was great. Screw Pennsylvania. I agree. You're welcome over here, Kelly, anytime. Kathleen came, I think Friday. Was it Friday or Saturday? Amber is in Michigan. She's stuck under her dear leader, so that's not going to happen. But, yeah, man, my thing is that if you voted for who you voted for, either say, man, yeah, I really screwed up, have some humility. But this kind of reminds you of the people that move from like California to, say, Texas because it's too expensive, the taxes are too high and all that, but then they start voting for the way that they were in California. And like, dude, exactly. Why did you come here? Oh, I love freedom, man. Well, then quit voting for Democrats because you're not getting freedom that way. Joanne says hello for Oregon. Oregon, I think, I'm not sure what's happened in Oregon, but Oregon, they were locked down, and then a judge said nope, unconstitutional, and then their Supreme Court, I think, put a stay on it. So sorry about your lack of freedom up there, Joanna. Chris Hanners, Michigan, Illinois, went to Indiana in large part. A lot of people are going to Indiana. There was another host that did a live stream, and it was him just crossing 1 mile, 1 mile south of the border of Michigan to Indiana to have a burger. He's like, wow, it is just night and day difference. As if, one side is like so locked down. And I can imagine that's what the Virginia and Maryland people who come over here to do the same thing. But hey, on this Memorial Day, I want us all to remember that people literally died in heroic battle for our freedoms. And that freedom includes your body, your choice, as the liberals love to say about abortion. but your body, your choice. If you are scared, by all means, you have the right to stay home. In fact, in these perilous times, I would even say government, pay them their unemployment if they want to stay home because if they have that much fear for at least just a limited amount of time, because you can't have people staying home forever. Otherwise, the economy can't work. But the rest of us should be able to go out and enjoy ourselves. We're not scared. Are you scared?
I'm not scared.
I mean,
I'm
you
not
literally.
scared. We almost went to the Ozarks this past weekend. I was
Yeah.
about to book. I was about to book the trip, but my wife, was just a little out because the military still they have a mileage radius that they can go, and it was just a little bit outside of the radius that she could travel right now.
Yeah.
So we didn't go, but man, it looks like they had a good time out there. Man, it looks like they had a great time in the Ozarks this weekend.
Yeah, but if you go to Missouri, then you could surely go to Indiana. I mean, Indiana has the Great Lakes still, and all I'm saying is that there's a stark difference. And I've never seen more during this time. By the way, if you want to join us, make sure that you like and follow us on Facebook. Go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, Nightcaps with Nate. Also, if you want to comment, go ahead and come. I know a lot of people are hosting watch parties. If you haven't started a watch party, let's spread the word. Go ahead and start your own watch party. If you want to comment, you can actually comment on the actual Nightcaps with Nate page. Also, if you want to call in, you can call in at 443-247-5309. 443-247-5309. And if you do call in, please remain on mute, and I will take you off the mute. So that's just the way that you can interact if you have anything that you want to say on this special show today. But again, happy Memorial Day to all those that fought. We're really exposing two Americas here, though. We got America, the one that has made it great, and those are the greatest generation of World War II, the people that went to Vietnam, the brave soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines that have actually given their all for this country. And then you got the other ones that are sitting back, literally cowered in fear. I have a family member who happens to be on this show who still wears a mask when she goes into the store. And I kind of ribbed her a little bit, and she threatened to block me on Facebook, so I left her alone. But people are, and that's her body, her choice. If she wants to wear that mask, she should wear that mask. I'm not saying don't wear the mask. Heck, if you want to wear it and the pandemic wasn't even going on, wear the mask. If you want to wear it because you're scared of air pollution, wear the mask. But don't expect everybody else to have to wear the same freaking mask, okay? Because we're going to see a video here in a few minutes here, and it literally has a lady being cussed out for wearing a mask in New York City or New York shopping center. And I mean, like, they literally cussed her out. To me, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say something about that. If you see somebody doing something that you don't like, if it's not hurting anybody else, okay, you think if somebody wears a mask that is helping everybody else. No, they wear a mask so you don't get sick. If you have a mask on, then you're fine. If you're not walking within 6 feet, apparently 6 feet is a magical number, then you're fine. You don't have a right to go yell at somebody for not conforming to your standards. I'm so sick of the fascists in this country, because that's what I'm calling them. I'm no longer being nice and calling them lib turds and the crazy left. They're fascists. They're fascists because if you don't agree with them succinctly and walk in step to what their ideals are, then you're wrong, and they feel like they have the right to approach you and yell at you and say what you should do with your own body. And that's not right. That's
but this wasn't even one person. Here, let me just go ahead and show it. It was going to be later in the show because I was going to talk about Cuomo still. Even though they flattened the curve, more than flattened the curve, he still refuses to open up all of New York City, which, hey, that's your governor again. Here, let me just show the viewers this video that I'm talking about here.
Get out!
Yeah, go to the act like a dirty pig.
What do you think?
They're calling her a dirty ass hoe, dirty ass bitch, get out. She didn't walk around in like, in Walmart where you have that whole website, people at Walmart, people are like, whoa, you're nasty, right? Or she stunk. No, it was nothing of that. They were literally that upset because she did not have a mask on. And 5 or 6 people came around her and cussed her out until she finally had to give up and left the store. What have we become in America, people? Yes. What have we become? If you have anything that you want to say, go ahead and comment on here. Samantha, yo, what's up? You guys can call in 443-247-5309. This is a special Memorial Day edition. talking about two Americas right now. And I'm not talking about the rich and the poor America, like class warfare, like the liberals love to play. No, I'm talking about the weak and the strong. And I really am. I'm not talking about the weak and the physically strong. I'm talking about the mentally weak and the mentally strong. You know, I was trying to do a lot of reflection, like what is going on, especially with little white kids that grow up to be these super, super wokester liberals. And what it was, I figured it out. And yes, a lot of moms are going to get mad at me, and I'll take the heat. Go ahead, y'all can, if you disagree with me, go ahead and comment. But a lot of moms have turned their little men, their little boys, instead of raising them to be men that play football, they're turning their little men into little boyfriends, and they're coddling them all the time. You know, everybody gets a participation trophy. Nobody's feelings can get hurt. Oh my God, we got to be safe, got to be safe, got to be safe, got to be safe. You know, and that's, I think, what's happening, man. People are literally living in fear. I'm talking about men with testosterone coursing through their veins. The same men that, you know, in the 1940s stormed a beach not thinking they were going to live. We have these same men that now look a lot like, here, I'll show you a picture, man. This right here is the men of yesterday, men and women of yesterday. This is the men and women of today. And I would like to say, oh, they made it because it's rare. It's not rare, folks. Go to any liberal march. Go to any gay pride march. And I'm a libertarian. If you want to be gay, be gay. Don't care. What I'm saying is that for the rest of society, the 96% that's not gay, when you got men walking around with slut and a bra on, and they're proud of it, we have lost our way, America. We are turning into Europe. And if you think that's a great thing because they have socialism, let me tell you what. Name one thing that's been invented out of Europe in the last 40 years. Because capitalism is what breeds people to try new things and to get new things because they have that wealth opportunity. But if you want just mediocrity, and you want China and India to take over the entire world, and you see how well China's handling their status right now, they're about to crack down on Hong Kong, their only free sovereign area. But, you know, Kathleen right now, I just caught my eye. She says that's why little Kevin plays tackle football and goes with his daddy to our cabin. He does. That is a man in the making right there. Kevin is on our show on Wednesdays, and he has a little boy, Bubs, and that little boy probably can survive better on his own than I can, and I was in the Army 22 years. Hate to say it, but that kid's grown up to be a man, and he plays football and all that. But a lot of parents won't let their kids play football anymore because they're scared of concussions and stuff. Got it, man. But you know what? That's what we used to do. We used to play WWF before it was WWE. Be doing the suplex on each other.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Diamond Dallas Page.
But we were men. We were growing up to be men. It is okay that we have males and females in this country. And it's okay if females want to be tomboys. But it's not okay, in my opinion. And yes, you moms are going to, oh, he's such a mean guy. It's not okay for your boy to dress up in pink. Unless it's Easter. You know, real men wear pink. They put on a polo or something, a nice tie and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right? The thought of toxic masculinity is stupid. That's what Kathleen just said. And I just want you guys to know, I'm not a wokester. I'm not a religious right guy, even though I am a Christian. I'm a born again Christian. But, you know, I still drink and you know, I still got some sins to answer for. So I'm not a Bible thumper. But at the same time, I'm a libertarian. So if you want to be gay, that's fine. But as Americans, as a country, talking in the macro, we need to man up in this country. If you are that scared that you want to wear a mask, by all means, I'm a libertarian. Wear your mask. But if you're like me and Jasper on here, and we don't choose to wear a mask, we should not be verbally assaulted in stores and stuff. Chris Hader says, haha, tag me in, bam, DDT. Yes. Yeah, I won't let my son play football. He can play baseball. Come on, Amber.
Because
I love you. You're my cousin.
I don't want to get hit in the head with a baseball.
But football, you know, it's something that we've been playing for hundreds of years. And guess what? Yes, you might get a little bump on your head, but you're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's going to be a lot worse. This kid has to go to war than a football hit to the head. You know? Raising them to play football is ignorant, but I agree 100% that males are certainly not being raised the same way. We hunt, fix. And Samantha and Amber, I'm just using football as an example. I'm using football just totally as an example. I'm talking about, man, fix cars. Go get your hands dirty. Don't do what I did and put firecrackers in frogs' mouths. That's rude and cruel, and I didn't realize it when I was young, but that was just my brothers influencing me. Thanks, Dan. But, you know.
I believe.
Go ahead, buddy.
No, I believe that it's okay. Like you said, if you want to be gay, be gay. Be as gay as you want to be. That's fine. Who cares? But like you said, most of the country is not homosexual. Most of the country are heterosexual, male and females, and they are in heterosexual couples. Now, the letter community has this giant microphone in Hollywood and the media where they blast out their message, which is fine. You know, they blast out the message, making it seem like they're more prominent than they are. But homosexuality is not the prominent force that drives America. And every time somebody brings around a masculine idea, you know, say, "Oh, little boys need to learn how to do this." Why should a little boy know how to do that? Why does he need to do that? You know, that's toxic masculinity. Why can't a girl do that? Why can't a girl do that? And I always go out of saying, women can do what men can do. That's fine. But women weren't made to do what a man can do. Women were made to do everything men cannot do. And that's what people have lost focus on. A woman being a wife, that's not a bad thing. You know, a little girl going to say, "I can't wait to get married and have a husband," and she's shamed because, "Oh, you don't need a man to depend on." No, that is something that is honorable. Being a wife and a mother, you know how hard my wife works as a wife and a mother? Like, you dealing with me, just dealing with me. Now, we have 3
And she
kids
has a
as
career
well.
too. Yeah, she's in the Air Force.
Exactly.
So she has a career.
Exactly.
So it ain't saying that. I'm just saying that, you know what? By the way, speaking of your wife, who is more patriotic in America, Republicans or Democrats? What's your guess?
Libertarians, okay. I would say Republicans are.
Yeah, so they did a study, and I'm only bringing this up because it's Memorial Day. I do this on 4th of July and stuff. But yes. Overall, the survey found that 76% of Americans consider themselves very or somewhat patriotic, but between Republicans and Democrats, there was a big difference. A whopping 97% of Republicans placed themselves in the very or somewhat categories, compared with only 71% of Democrats. That's a gap of 26 percentage points. That means 3 out of 10 Democrats do not consider themselves patriotic. That's a problem in America, and that was a parent problem. Okay, because even there's a saying that we have in the military, right or wrong, we're still Americans, and we still love our country, right? But we're still patriotic, and we defend her to the death. Even more starkly, 72% of Republicans consider themselves to be very patriotic, the highest level of patriotism, compared with only 29% of Democrats who consider themselves very patriotic. Samantha says, yes, she agrees with you. David Adams, don't let your boys grow up soft. It's an injustice to them. I agree, David. Demetrius, he said East Bay. He's from East Bay in the house. Hey, everyone, from East Bay, California. Sean Kingman, to be toxic masculine is to be the man who protects women, the man who holds the doors open for women. As a real man, we are naturally sexist if we are raised properly. Sexist, not in a negative sense, but in the way to where we want to do for our women, provide, protect. Naturally, I will call any woman or girl man because it's what's right. My little girl sees the way I am towards her and her mama, and she will use that as a standard for the man she will look for one day, God willing. Well written, Sean. Kudos to you. It isn't just because I opened the door for a woman. That's not patriarch. That's that's not me being a sexist. That's me being polite. Guess what? Sometimes my hands are full and my wife actually opens the door for me. You know what I'm saying? That means something. There used to be chivalry in this country. There was a song in the 90s, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? It was a pop song. I think that's how it went. But it's true, man. Where is chivalry? Where is it? We're not saying that, hey, you're a CEO, I'm a CEO, so you got to get paid 71 cents on the dollar. That's wrong. There shouldn't be a pay gap. Now, there's other reasons behind that, by the way, because some women, they do take time off to have children and stuff, and that does set them back a few percentage points. But, that's life choices. That's not the patriarch, doing that. And if it is, it's wrong. We should get rid of it. But there's nothing wrong with opening the door. There's nothing wrong when Bubs says yes, ma'am, to when he comes over with Kathleen and Kevin and he says yes, ma'am, to my wife. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, you know what it means? That kid's going to grow up and he's going to be a good husband, a good father, and a good member of society. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. In the South, they still do that down there in Georgia. I wasn't raised to do that because I grew up in Michigan and we didn't say yes, ma'am, a lot, and no, ma'am, and yes, sir. But guess what? We probably could have used the extra discipline. Kathleen says, careful, Nate. Chivalry is toxic masculinity now. Chris Henry, chivalry isn't dead, brother, but it's definitely an endangered species. Totally agree. But patriotism is too. Raise your kids to love America. That was the one thing my parents did. They raised us, so you know what? my parents were Reagan voters. My parents actually grew up Democrat. All my aunts and uncles, you'll see Gordy on here sometimes. He was a Democrat up until Trump, I think. My uncle Jeff, you see Jeffrey Lincoln, he sometimes posting on here. He was a staunch Democrat when I was growing up. It threw me for a loop when I found out he was a Trump supporter Republican now. You know? But they all still loved America. They were Union Democrats that loved America. They just had a different vision for it. Now we're turning into two countries. A country that loves America on the right, and a country that really disdains America and hates themselves for being born white, and and if you're born anything else but white, including being gay white, you're a victim and everybody hates you. And we don't need to be that way. Yeah, we had some injustice as growing up, but guess what? In our history, but we could fix them and still love America. Well, you're a black man. Talk to me, buddy.
Yeah, so I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm seeing the two Americas. The one America which wants to stick to the traditional American ideals and stick to what the Constitution says and be patriotic and love America, and the new emergence of an America that wants to disregard the Constitution, disregard the Bill of Rights, because as some people say, not going to name any names, but some people say that's an old document that is not fit for our current state of affairs. It doesn't fit in our current time. And when I hear that, that's dangerous. That's dangerous speak, because you're talking about the very basis and fabric of our freedoms in this country that you're saying we no longer need. We need to redo. We need to just throw it all away and start over. No, we don't need to throw it away, all away and start over. We're just now becoming what the framers of the Constitution wrote about in the Constitution. When the Constitution was written, the Constitution's dream was not fulfilled at that point. Why? Because there was 18 million Africans in slavery in America, and the Constitution gave them, what was it, 3/5?
Of personhood. Yeah,
3/5 of personhood. So that lets you know that even though they weren't considered fully people, there was still a door there that let them come in that maybe in the future that will be built upon. So we got out of slavery, we got out of the civil rights. There is still perfection to be had with the Constitution as written. It's not perfect yet. It's not a perfect document, but it's not a stagnant document either.
Yeah, and where it's imperfect, the founders made a way that we can change it. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be slow and arduous. That way, no majority can take over a minority. That's why we're so special when we had the Electoral College. That's why the framers were either God-inspired, which I believe they were, or they were just brilliant. Because the whole thought of the Electoral College, nobody else would have thought of that at that time. You know? I mean, it's amazing what the framers had in mind. So, please, people, let's go a little bit. I'm not saying, because we did have some sins in the 50s. In fact, in the 50s, not on my show, he would have still been allowed, but Jasper wouldn't be able to drink from the same water fountain as us. So we did have some things that we had to correct. But let's be a little bit more like the 50s in all other respects, and a little less like 2020s, please. Okay? If I see your kid grow up wearing bras, I'm not going to smack the kid. I'm smacking you as my friend. That's just a friendly smack in the head, okay? You're banned off my golfing team, all right?
Oh,
Because that's almost as bad as joining the Navy. I'm just playing. Happy Memorial Day to everybody, including the Navy brothers that fell in honor of their country, especially at Pearl Harbor. Chris Sanders, the research poll I want to see is how many current armed forces members consider themselves patriotic as opposed to ones who joined only for education. I think they do a pretty good job of indoctrination and patriotism in the armed forces. You know who isn't scared, by the way? So we never hear about her. But you know the other Trump girl, Tiffany? She just graduated law school. And her mom, who is Marla Maples, wrote a scripture and posted herself on an airplane with the proper social distancing and stuff, the mask and all that, which is good, okay? Especially on an airplane because it's filthy. Hell, even after this pandemic, I might wear a mask on the airplane just because of the flu. I don't like getting the flu. Not that I'm scared it's going to kill me, but I just don't like being sick, right? But she wrote from the Romans 8:3, I think. It says, if God is for us, who could be against us? Marla Maples breaks quarantine and flies out of New York City to see her daughter, Tiffany Trump, saying she does not choose fear. She went to go watch. Her daughter did graduate. Congratulations to Tiffany Trump. It's the one Trump you never hear about. And that's because she chose to live a private life. And she just graduated Georgetown, I think, law school. So not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all.
I'd be proud if my daughter's graduated any law school. if University of Phoenix had a law school and they graduated, I'd even be proud, you know? So this one right here pisses me off. Activist judges. Activist judges piss me the hell off, especially federal judges, because they go to a lifetime appointment. And this one here is one of the worst. His name is Robert Louis Hinkle. He's a judge in Florida. But he ruled that judge rules that Florida cannot block felons from registering to vote because of unpaid fines. All right, so backstory behind that. A few years ago, no felon for the rest of their life could vote. Well, they did a constitutional amendment to the Florida Constitution saying, yeah, no, they can vote once they've served out their sentence. So right before they did the constitutional amendment, the legislator on purpose defined what serving their sentence was, and that included paying any unpaid restitution, fines, probation, and their sentence. Okay? Well, this judge comes in and says that's a poll tax. The judge rules that Florida can't block felons from registering to vote just because of the unpaid fines, restitution. Federal judge in Florida ruled Sunday that the state's law restricting felons from voting if they have unpaid court fees or other fines is unconstitutional. In court documents obtained by the Campaign Legal Center, U.S. District Judge Robert Hinkle, a Clinton appointee, argued that the state's requirement essentially amounted to a poll tax targeting formerly incarcerated Floridians. So what was his opinion just a few years ago when they couldn't vote for the rest of their life? But now you give them an inch, which we should. Criminal justice reform, there's a lot of people who lost their right to vote because of a stupid marijuana prison sentence, right? And these liberals taking a mile. This is exactly what Trump is has had to deal with from the beginning of his presidency, all the way through. Every single thing that any conservative does, and this is a state thing. I'm not saying this is Trump's doing, but this is just another, they're going to obviously appeal, and they're going to win on appeal. Eventually, they'll go up to the Supreme Court, and they're going to win because that's a stupid ruling. And it's because my 1 year at Seton Hall School of Law, even though I had great professors, they were all very, 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 very liberal. And they teach law from a very liberal perspective. That is why it's so important to support the Federalist Society, because they are the only conservative legal group on any campus. And, this is just a dumb decision.
It is. It's terrible.
Pay all your restitution and fines, you get to register. He's saying, well, yeah, but the state's done a horrible job. Then, they don't even know what their fines or restitution is anymore. Well, if that's the case, go to your local judge and have them make a determination or to get rid of that penalty. If the state can't keep up with their record keeping, then boom. Then on a case-by-case basis, you may be absolved and ready to vote. You know what I'm saying? But you know why they're doing it, these Democrats, right? Because disproportionately, their idea is that disproportionately, even though most of these people affected 700-something thousand former felons living in the state right now, most of them are white, but disproportionately, a lot of them are black males. And their idea is, oh man, we give them the right to vote. Boom. We just permanently flipped Florida from red to blue.
It's always a strategy.
Even though it was the Republicans that gave them the right to vote. The Republican legislator of Florida and the Republican governor.
Oh, the media and the establishment won't let that fly. They won't tell that story. The Republicans fought it the whole way. By the end of it, the Republicans didn't want it. The Democrats saved you. The Democrats did this for you. Honestly, I believe the Democrats actually try to flip the law inside out, releasing criminals because they're scared they're going to get sick, but they're turning around and incarcerating law-abiding citizens because they decided to go to work to feed their family or not wearing a mask on the sidewalk. You're stopping right there in the summons, but you release a criminal. You won't prosecute burglaries. You won't prosecute drug charges. You just write them a ticket for a later appearance. What is going on with the liberal agenda where they're no longer enforcing actual penal code and punishing the civil liberties of American citizens? I don't understand what's going on. I mean, I understand what's going on, but I don't like it.
Well, it's akin to back in the day. See, the way we hunt and gather our food is we go to work. So these business owners that are going to jail for going to work to feed their family, that's like them like back in the day hunting and then getting charged with hunting out of season. But you're starving, Exactly. I mean, if you're starving, then you don't care about a stupid little law. If your livelihood is going down the drain, everything that you worked hard for is going down the drain, people are in a fight or flight thing right now, especially in these liberal states. But you know what? Wake up, America. If you're in one of those states that have you still on lockdown when all these other states are doing great, such as Georgia and Florida, okay? If you are one of those states, then you need to raise up against your nanny state government. This is just like when Mayor Bloomberg of New York City banned 32-ounce sodas in the whole entire city. A city of 8 million people, they couldn't purchase a 32-ounce soda from the 7-Eleven. The Big Gulp was banned, okay? Because he was worried about diabetes and stuff. You know why liberals are worried about diabetes and stuff? Because they promise to pay for the health care of everybody. Then all of a sudden they get up in your business and tell you what you can eat, what you can't eat, what you can drink, what you can't drink, what you can smoke, what you can't smoke. Big government and liberty does not match. It just can't do it. If you don't want the government up in your business, don't let them pay your bills. Because as soon as they start paying their bills, they call it a public policy position. Yep. It does not mix.
And that goes on a personal level, the state level, any level where you're asking for the government to take care of you. Like when the states were asking the federal government, hey, we need money. Well, Trump was like, hey, no more sanctuary cities. So like, well, you can't do that. You can't tell them, yes, we can.
Yeah, beggars can't be choosers, can they?
Exactly.
But on the flip side, for all you liberals that don't get it, just because you had the right to ride without a helmet on your motorcycle, you should have to sign a waiver that you cannot go on Medicaid to fix your brain damage. Because, you know what I'm saying? That's liberty, man. For my brothers and sisters out there who love making lots of kids, not my literal brothers and sisters, I'm talking about my fellow Americans. It's okay. I can't tell you who to have sex with and who you can't. I can't tell you how many babies to have, but just don't go on welfare with them. It is your choice. Enjoy your children. Enjoy the sex that you had to make them children. Just please don't put the bill on me. And that's what libertarian is all about. Now, some of it might sound mean and cruel, but it's not really. It's saying, hey, you have the most freest country in the world. You're allowed to do whatever you want with yourself as long as you don't harm somebody else and you don't pass the bill on to somebody else. Period. You don't have to go to college. You don't even have to study while you're in college. You can go party away while everybody else is going to college, but then don't expect them to give you their money through welfare and social redistribution. Okay? Because I see those pictures of Jeff Bezos, who I don't even like. He's a liberal. But he started off in a garage and had like this handwritten sign that said Amazon.com. And he literally, to this day, out of tradition, they make all their desks still out of a door. It was literally a door with 4 posts on it. That was a desk. They would go to Home Depot and grab old, real cheap doors to make desks out of. All right? But that's called liberty. If you want to smoke, you want to drink, you want to eat 5,000 calories a day, by all means, please do it. Just don't pass your medical bill to the American people. That's all libertarianism is. If you want to have sex with another dude or another girl, by all means, do it. But when you have Gay Pride Month next month, don't force a Catholic bishop to have to hang a rainbow flag or he's pilloried. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's turning into. If you own a business and you don't hang a rainbow flag, now you're on this website and you're supposedly anti-gay. Maybe your business just doesn't give a shit who you sleep with. You know,
exactly.
Whether straight or gay.
Exactly.
You know, and that's what libertarian is all about. And I don't mean to get on thing here, but the reason why I'm going on all this libertarian bent today is because today's Memorial Day, and there was a lot of people who died for that liberty that we have. There's a reason why we don't have hate speech laws in this country, thank God. And I know liberals are trying to push for it, but it's dumb. Because what you might not consider hate speech, another person might, and then you're in jail. In England, a pastor or a Catholic bishop or priest can actually go to jail, and they take that chance because their Bible, the way they believed in their God, says that marriage is between one man, one woman. Somebody comes and says that's hate speech, boom, they can shut down an entire Catholic church. We don't have that here because we have freedom. We have freedom in this country, and it's awesome. So let's live with it. Raise your kids to understand that. Everybody has to agree with what you do. Wait, so you don't want women to get abortions? You don't want to feed the kids? You can't have it both ways. Amber says we can't have it both ways. Again, abortion is taking the life. The Constitution in the very first preamble says you have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I believe that once a child is viable, and the Supreme Court has held this rule over and over again, even in Roe versus Wade, then you have to have the baby. It can be given up for adoption. But then she says, well, then you don't feed the kids. Well, Alan is 100% right. He said, have the kids only if you can support them. My God, we give out free condoms and contraceptions, and we have, all these other things. You go in the military, they even put a bowl out at the front desk of your barracks, full of condoms. Bring a lady home. She has to be out of the barracks by 2 a.m., or 4 hours before duty starts. But by all means, have sex away. Just use a condom. So you can't sit there and say, well, you can't be pro-life and then not support their life when they're born. Yes, you can, because guess what? You made that child. Now, there's a difference between a hand up. You need temporary help? Got it. That's a social contract that we make as Americans with each other at the state level or below. By all means, if you have to get on TAMP for SNAP for a couple years, that's fine. What I'm talking about is, oops, I had a baby. Oh, man, I need a hand up. Okay? We hand it out. But when you go and make other babies on top of that, now come on, man. Now you're using the system for your gain. And that's where libertarianism has to step in and say, that was not our fault.
You don't have a right to kill an unborn child just because it's inconvenient for you at the time. Like, and I made this argument, this is why I don't talk about abortion anymore on my page, because I made this argument about a year ago and I got lambasted. And the biggest argument that they threw at me was, well, it's not a life, it's just a clump of cells. And not only after I got over how shocking that was to me, how shocking their rationalization was that you're no longer considering what's growing inside of you life. You're bringing it down to a clump of cells. The shocking part is these same people believe in the theory of evolution. And in the theory of evolution, the first forms of life and evolution were clumps of cells. And they called it life. Anytime life is found on a distant planet or hopefully found on a distant planet, is a clump of cells that may hold life, So
yeah, but I think you gotta be careful with that.
Evolution was life,
and I'm pro-life. Personally, I am pro-life, and I mean I'm talking totally pro-life. I'm against the death penalty too because it could rob you, especially as a black man who might have poor representation of your entire life for something you didn't even do. That's why I support the Innocent Project. Okay, but if you consider everything life, then all of a sudden it's going to be murder if you accidentally run over a deer. Be vehicular homicide. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but it's life because it's a group of cells. And human life has to be set apart from everything else. But once a child is viable, by all means, like the Democrats, they would love it to where if your baby is born on accident through abortion, a botched abortion, that you can let it sit there and die. That's a horrible thing. Okay? So I think we should fight the late-term abortions before we start fighting the rest of abortions. But let me tell you what. They're too overwhelmed in the first place, Samantha. Tell me what you're talking about. Look, sex is an enjoyable thing. But just like I teach my kids not to have sex until, well, hopefully they're married, but at least until they're financially able to bear a child if needed. That is just the same discipline that it takes for me to go to work and not, if I had a hot secretary, not to sleep with her. Okay, it's called self-discipline. Believe me, I'm a man full of testosterone. Okay? My wife is beautiful, but if I could have 15 of hers, I would. But my discipline says, no, I can only have one Whitley. I can only have one Whitley. All right? I'm not Saul of the Bible and have 1,000 concubines, okay? That's a lack of discipline. A lot of money and a lot of heartache, too. But I'm just saying, and you can't, if you have a child, please pay for it. That's all I'm asking. It's not a lot. And if you need a hand up for, a temporary time, 6 months, by all means, apply for it. It's there. It's to help people not go starve in this country. But please don't depend on it for life. It's just not right. Okay?
And don't continuously have multiple children while you're on welfare to increase your welfare amount.
Exactly.
This is why I don't talk about it anymore. That's why I don't talk about it anymore, because it's a touchy subject.
It is a touchy subject, but this is a touchy radio program today because we're talking about liberty. Liberty. If you have anything that you want to say live and not just on comments, a lot of people are commenting, which is cool. Very good. But you can also call 443-247-5309, 443-247-5309. Let's go on to the next topic here. The inconvenient truth for our media bias. If you are a friend of mine on Facebook, then you've probably already seen this. But guess what? The reason why I'm telling you this is because this is how liberals scare you into government submission. This is how liberals label you, make you a victim, or scare you so that you will accept big government and give up your liberty. The more the government takes care of you, the more liberty you have to give up to do it. Okay? If you want everybody to be super safe, then we have to give up the liberty of driving 65 and go back to 55. Because studies show that if you drive 55 miles per hour, you're less likely to get killed in an accident than at 65 or 75. But nothing worse than traveling down the highway late at night, you're the only car on the road and you're having to go 55 miles per hour. And God forbid you go 60 and get pulled over and get a big old fine. But that's the liberty you gave up so that you could be safe. Same with the coronavirus thing. So we're going to hear over the next couple days because we're going to hit that 100,000 mark, the 100,000 dead mark. First of all, I don't even believe it, but let's just say it is true. It is 100,000 out of 333 million. Okay? Here's the true numbers. Again, like I've been pointing out all this time, if you live in a blue state, a Democrat state, you are above that national average. If you live in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, D.C., Louisiana, Rhode Island, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Maryland, and Delaware. Now, I had a liberal on my page say, well, that's because it's more densely populated in those states. Really? Louisiana is not mostly dense. I mean, yeah, they have one big city, a couple of like medium cities, right? Michigan has Detroit, which is now down to like, God, in the whole metro area, maybe 3 or 4 million people. It's not even a big city anymore because everybody fled it because of liberalism. All right? I don't want to hear that nonsense. And so let's judge our president because I hear this every single day for the last month. Oh, America has more cases than anybody in the world. So yeah, we're also the third most populous country, and China and Russia are lying about their cases, right? So assuming that Russia and China are actually telling the truth, we are actually the 12th in the world per capita in deaths, okay? We also, if you want to use that logic, then the liberal media should say, then, okay, well, we test more people in the world every day than anybody else. But per capita, we don't. We don't. So you can't have your cake and eat it too, liberal media. I'm so tired of the biased media. In fact, if this election is lost, it's because of two things. We raised a bunch of sissies that are now turning into liberal voters, and we have a biased media that will not tell the truth. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. It used to be that they tried to hide it. And I did a whole special on bias, media bias, but we are not number one. If any of your friends say, oh, but we have the most cases in the world. Yeah, in hard numbers, assuming China and Russia and Iran are telling the truth. Yes, you're right. But if you take it per capita, then we're not even close. We're 12th. We're behind Italy, Belgium, Spain, UK, France, Sweden, Netherlands, Ireland. There's a lot of your socialist countries that are doing much worse than we are per capita. What is per capita? Well, per capita means that, hey, what's a more dangerous city? Atlanta, which has about 500,000 residents, 600,000 residents in the actual city limits, or New York City, which has 8 million residents. Which one's more dangerous?
I would say New York.
Nope, Atlanta, by far.
Oh.
Much more dangerous than New York City. But New York City might have more murders per year, but per capita, they're actually much safer. Per capita evens it out by population so that it says, hey, per 100,000 or per million residents, what's your chance of being a victim of violent crime? So if you were only looking at the amount of shootings and murders, yes, New York City probably looks more dangerous than Atlanta, but Atlanta is actually far more dangerous. Now, Atlanta and Detroit. Detroit's far more dangerous than Atlanta. Hell, Flint, Michigan is far more dangerous than Atlanta. And they're when I was a kid, we had like 200,000 people in that city. I don't even think they have 100,000 people anymore. But they're far more dangerous than Atlanta. Per 100,000 people, your chance of being a victim is much greater. Gary, Indiana, same thing. That's what per capita does. So when the media lies to you, to try to give up your liberty, because that's what they are, they're anti-libertarian, they're anti-conservative, they are liberals. They would love a socialist dream. Remind them that they're socialist countries of Belgium, Spain, UK, Italy, France, Sweden, San Marino, San Martin, Netherlands, and Ireland are doing much worse than we are. Okay? Especially Belgium.
And they were just letting people die in the streets in Italy, like literally, like they just didn't have any room to take them, so they just let them die where they were. Like,
right. President Trump did go to the wreath laying thing, which is cool. I love it when they did that. And can you believe? And he also went to Fort McHenry. Fort McHenry is up in Baltimore. It's where the Star Spangled Banner was actually written. Mm-hmm. And the Baltimore mayor said, "Mr. President, we don't want you here." It sets a bad example on travel. Now, if you've ever been,
I would have showed up anyway.
He sure did. He sure as hell did. He doesn't care. He didn't even call him Mr. President. He said, "President Trump, we don't want you here." If you ever been in the D.C. area, Baltimore's about 20 miles north of D.C. Okay, so it's all in the same metro area. And but he did give a good speech. Together we will vanquish this virus and America will rise. Trump commemorates Memorial Day in back-to-back appearances with Melania at Arlington Cemetery, just in D.C., and at Baltimore's Fort McHenry. what happened? See, that's that chivalry I was talking about too, though. It used to be that no matter what political party, it was an honor to welcome the president of the United States in your state or your city. You know what I'm saying? And now we got politicians, especially on the left, who are just vitriolic. Like, we don't need you here. We don't want you here. You're unwelcome here. He's your president too.
So disrespectful. So disrespectful. And then anytime you call somebody on, well, the Republicans were disrespectful. No, they weren't that disrespectful to Obama. Yes, there were some things that should not have been done. I will say that. When Obama was treated unfairly at times, but not to this level, not with this kind of vitriol, not with this kind of hatred. He was not. He was still the president anywhere he went. He was still the president anytime he spoke. He was still the president with any policy he initiated. He wasn't ridiculed by the media, and people didn't go behind his back and try to undercut him within his own administration because they felt like he was going to get them brownie points with their friends on the Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, there was no deep state the other way around because it's very, very liberal. If you ever go to D.C., the government workers are by and large very, very Democrat. And so they had an agenda to stop his administration. Well, if you don't like your job, get out of it. Get out of it and go somewhere else. Alan said that China is buying up Detroit. Chris Sanders, you two gents, stop. Just stop with all that good sense y'all keep stating. I mean, liberty. Today's theme today is liberty. Liberty.
Liberty.
Okay?
America.
So together we will rise, Trump says. Now, that's a message of hope. That's the Trump that needs to keep being Trump. For God's sake, this election with Biden is his to lose. And I think it's going to be pretty close. And the reason why is because you have a very entrenched left who want him out. But at the same time, you have a guy who sometimes is a little loose with his lips. And loose lips sink ships. Okay?
I don't know if it's gonna be that close though, because a lot of Bernie supporters say there is no way in the world that they would vote for Biden.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that's what they say. But Kathleen says, and the media is gonna vilify Trump so much that they'll turn into little mini Bernie voters. Kathleen, yep, I didn't vote for Obama, but I certainly would have shook his hand, of course. And I'm not even talking about just because I was in the military. If I saw President Clinton to this day, I would still shake his hand. Say, hey, man, you installed some shitty judges, especially that one down in Florida. Can we talk about? But,
that's what you would say? I would say, sorry about your wife, bro.
No, but you know what? Even if she won, and I couldn't stand the lady, but even if she won, it'd still be an honor to host her in your city. It's still the President of the United States. Come on, don't be like them.
Okay. You're right.
You're
right,
better than
you're
that.
Right.
It's still, once they are elected, they are our president. That's part of that patriotism.
They respect the office.
Here's a surprise. Ilhan Omar says that she does believe Tara Reid, sexual assault allegation against Joe Biden, and that he shouldn't be president, or the presidential nominee. But she will still vote for him. That's what I'm talking about. This is in the Daily Mail. She says, I do believe Reid. Representative Ilhan Omar said in an interview published Sunday, justice can be delayed but should never be denied. She added, the Minnesota lawmaker said if it were up to her, Joe Biden would not be the Democratic nominee. But she did. She was going for Bernie. But she still says that she plans on defeating Trump by voting for him.
Yeah, they really hate Trump. Oh, they hate Trump. They hate Trump so bad that they'll elect a Trump minus the personality and actual knowledge.
Well, it's
they'll
funny,
elect somebody just like Trump.
Trump's a populist.
Just
I don't
like
even
Trump.
agree with Trump on a lot of things because I'm a libertarian. Now, is he lesser two evils? Sure, but Trump's a populist. It doesn't. I mean, so he's really got a lot of Democratic bona fides. He's criminal justice reform. He's for expanded child care for women who are working, even though I don't think that that's our business to pay for child care. So there's a lot of things that he's still very Democrat-like. You would think that he's the most pro-LGBTQ plus whatever Republican president we've ever had because he's not from that religious right type thing. He believes in religious freedom, but he's not a big, religious right kind of guy. So he's not a bad guy. Morning Joe. All you Michigan people, man, you guys really screwed up over the last few years in Michigan. This is the Senator Gary Peters. He says to Morning Joe Scarborough, Trump's objection to vote by mail is outrageous and hypocrisy. I don't know how it's hypocrisy, but Amber sent me a picture, and this was also on the internet. This guy here for Michigan, they're sending out all these absentee ballot applications to all these homes. This guy got 5 of them for previous people that used to live at his address. 5 of them. Now, if you don't think that guy could register to vote 5 times with 5 different signatures and get 5 mail-in ballots and steal a vote, then you're dumb. In fact, Democrats, you're supposed to be the party of science and the party of elite, schools and the greatest universities and stuff. If you don't realize how easy it is for Trump to steal your election, demand voter ID. Okay? People can. This is going to be the most insecure election I've ever seen. Because I'll tell you what, if I was really on fire, and I am, but I just don't believe in breaking the law. But if I had even an ounce of me that could break the law and I got 5 different applications to vote, you don't think I'd be filling those puppies out to make 5 votes for my candidate of choice? That is just waiting to happen. And Amber also said she got one. That she got one in her mail as well for a previous addressee. Now, those are 5 people who potentially could have their vote robbed from them. They might be all Democrats. I don't know. That's why we need to just get rid of the nonsense and demand voter ID. Demand voter ID.
Mail-in voting is not the way to go.
Not without a thumbprint. You should have to put a thumbprint on every one of those. That way, if it gets checked out.
But then you have to get everybody's fingerprints registered with the government, which is another issue. It's another issue. That's the libertarian coming out. Sorry.
Amber says, I still don't know what to do with the one I got. You rip it up, throw it away, Amber. That's what you do. That's on the voter to go and check why they didn't get their thing.
Actually, I don't think it's legal to destroy election material. You might need to send it back to the post office. But
yeah, put return to sender. No longer lives here.
Yeah, return to sender.
No longer lives here, and send it in your mailbox.
I don't think they're actually going to check, but whatever.
So now this is where libertarianism gets a little tricky, and we talked about a little bit. But Supreme Court has held, and federal courts have held several times that things can become the public square. For instance, if I lived in a remote area and everybody comes to my coffee shop, then I can't censor their speech anymore because it de facto became the public square, right? And so Mike Pence says in Breitbart on social media, censorship to conservatives, we're just not going to tolerate it. They're opening up they're going to impanel a group of government officials, and they're going to check this out because there's been so many instances of Candace Owen and a lot of people being censored on social media. No. So the libertarian side says, hey, that's a private company. They can do whatever they want. But once they become publicly traded and they become the major platform for the exchange of ideas, then they de facto became, and they're getting paid. They're still getting paid to become the public square. So Twitter, YouTube, Google, and Facebook, man, oh man. I hate to say it because now they're going to really try to skew the election, and they could. They have that power. But if Trump wins, man, you guys are in trouble. And you did it to yourself.
Big time.
You did it to yourself. And here's the thing. If you post something that's against COVID-19, Jasper, then they can block it where nobody can see it. But then just 2 weeks later, a lot of the science changes. And you may have been right 2 weeks ago, and you could have been pre-warning people that you were right. That's not how science is done, man. It's a free exchange of public ideas. They can put a little label on your post and say, hey, Facebook does not agree with this post, and here's why, blah, 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 blah. But they should not block your post from being seen unless it's inciting literal violence against another group.
Just type coronavirus in your status bar. That's it. Type coronavirus, hit enter, and watch what happens. It gets blocked less than a minute later. You don't have nothing else on there. Just type coronavirus. That's it. They will block it. I did the experiment today, and I was shocked. I was like, how do you know this is false information? Like, you're blocking this for false information. All it says is coronavirus. It doesn't say anything else. It doesn't say anything positive. It doesn't say anything negative. It just says coronavirus.
In the search
That's
thing?
the algorithm Facebook has. No, in your status. So you said, what's on your mind today? Just type coronavirus, hit enter. That's it. And that will get blocked.
Are you sure? Wow.
That will get blocked. That's crazy.
Yeah. And, they're saying, oh, because we're protecting the public during a pandemic, blah, 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 blah. Boom. Once you have anybody protecting you, you just gave up your liberties. All right? I'm not saying we shouldn't get protected from murder, rape, the crimes like that. Crimes against our property, crimes that deprive others of their liberty. That should be, that's a social construct that we have. But when it comes to you needing to protect Johnny's eyes from your coronavirus information, why?
Because he's not smart enough to make his own mind up. He's easily manipulated by the Russians. I mean, the Republicans. Yeah.
Yes, there is a lawsuit. There are lawsuits, and Candace Owen is suing Facebook too, which is good. So Candace Owen, she's part of the Blexit movement, the Black Exit movement. Really powerful figure who's a conservative black woman. Very pretty lady too, by the way. And she is actually was blocked, and so she is now suing Facebook. And that's another thing. Thank you, Alan, for bringing that up. The fact checkers. So they say, well, we have independent fact checkers. Well, when they did studies of all these fact checkers that they're using, they all are somehow tied to a liberal group, whether it's the Washington Post or somebody else. So fact checking conservatives is always going to be unfair, because you know and I know you get 5 different Christians in a room on the same exact Bible, and there's going to be 5 different opinions of what the truth is based on that exact same information. Yep. Am I right or wrong?
Exactly.
You get 5
right.
scientists
Absolutely.
looking at the same study, and that's what they call peer review, right? And they're going to come up with different conclusions about the exact same material that came out. So having these independent fact checkers, you have one-sided fact checker basically who's calling themselves independent, and guess what? You as a conservative, you're poo-poo. You are out of luck. Out of luck. Your stuff is going to get blocked. And that is how, my friends, the Democrats may win this election coming up. Stand up for your liberty. Today is Memorial Day. It's a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day because millions, and a somber day because millions gave up their lives for your freedom. Quit giving it away so damn easy. Demand that your governors reopen their states. And if you're scared, go home and hunker in a closet somewhere. It's your body, your choice. Let's be smart, America. Be smart. Final story. Do you know who this guy is? On Breitbart, Clean Up America and Register Voters tour continues in Democrat-controlled Philadelphia. This happens to be some guy who is on our show. There's Darius Mayfield. He was in Breitbart, made national news again. He's been on Fox News Channel, mostly OAN, stuff like that. But Darius Mayfield tagline that he does on this show all the time, not black, not white, American. Yep. He and this other guy have gone out and they said, you know what, let's put our money where our mouth is. And he's not even from New York. He lives in New Jersey and he works in New York. I'm sorry, he's not from Philadelphia. And he went to Philadelphia and they not only cleaned up tons of trash, as you can see them standing on that dumpster, but he also was able to collect and donate 500 meals to residents in the city. He is a big proponent of put your words into action. Great. Posted a picture of Whitmer drinking a bar at Terrace City Thursday. My post was gone on Friday. Yeah, because that's an old. It was from 2019. Thank you, Alan. But good job, Darius. You made the news once again. Very proud of you. Proud of all that you did. They registered some voters. Hey, let's flip Pennsylvania back over to the red side. Yes. Jasper, thanks for being on the show tonight. It was fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Let's enjoy the rest of your day.
This has been Nightcaps with Nate. Please join Nate for a nightcap every weeknight at 9 Eastern here on Facebook Live.
Peace.